basically, how did Gavin handle things so far? Yeah. I like what somebody said in our group. What choice? He's not making any choices. He's a rabbit. He's like running. He's like, oh crap, you know, to be polite about it. And then sort of trying to be present there. Is he there in the room with the law student? No, not at all. And starting to kind of just, you know, as everybody said, he's got how many different thoughts racing through his head now? It's just got to be just chaos in there. Okay. And what do we look at? What do we learn new about the complexity of his situation?
Father-in-law is his partner.
Yes. Now, is that a comforting thought? Is that a stress-enhancing thought? There are things that he is ordered by. There are things that have led him to make choices before this day, and some of those are in play on this day. What do you think is important to Ben Affleck as you've observed him now, just for these 2 vignettes? What are the things that are important to him?
It appears he likes his status maybe as an attorney.
Okay, status as an attorney, right? What else? Likes to win. And somebody keyed on it in the first scene too, of you know, does he care about what other people think?
Yes.
About it? Yes. He wants to look, you know, he did not want to go in that room and tell the bad news, guys. We don't have the most important document. You know, that, whatever thoughts he had in his brain, that one got vanished quickly apparently. Because he went in and made up just junk that we all were just, you know, wincing to hear him say.
You can also see it from his body language, walking in there, it's like he was walking the plank.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing people,
And as he's walking out, you saw
Right.
the look on his face. Yeah.
and probably goes with that heightened sense of responsibility. I'm responsible for everything. I have screwed everything up. Therefore, who am I? His
Yeah, and-
identity, to some extent, is wrapped up in all these things.
And Chris mentioned that you don't accidentally end up working for your father-in-law. And it goes back to, we don't know, this is conjecture, but maybe this is a guy who does not know how to say no to anybody. And he ends up in this firm because he wants to please his wife and he doesn't want to let down his father-in-law, and he just ends up there. Not really because he wanted it. Again, we don't know. That often gets people into trouble. Not being able to set limits and say no and do what you feel is closer to what you want to do, what's more congruent with what you want to do.
And so let's sort of take it, you know, away from him for just a moment, and we got a break coming up in just a second here. Okay, so he wants some things, and none of them is necessarily a bad thing to want, right? Think back for a minute. What were some of the reasons? Just pop off 1 or 2 words. Why did all of us go to law school and become lawyers? What were some of the motivating factors?
I flopped organic chemistry.
Okay. So another door had closed, this window opened. What else? So some of us may have, you know, may not have purposely gone there and sort of found ourselves in law school. That can happen. A lot of people finding that happening today, I'm sure. They're wondering why. But
Yeah.
what else? What were the ideas that we had in mind when we, you know, began practicing law or began, you know, when we changed careers in law and went to law school?
Save the world.
Save the world, yeah. I could do some good with this, right? That's not a bad thought. I'm sure many of us have had it. What else?
Be my own boss, work my own hours.
Sure, independence.
Yeah, independent.
Right, I won't be dependent on somebody. I will kind of have some power there. What else? You can say it, guys, money. I mean, we wanted to make money. I mean, that's okay. If we're in, you know, private practice, which most of us are, it's, you know, this might be a good way to use the gifts and skills that I have to put food on the table, to provide for a family. You know, that's a motivating factor. It may not have been the sole factor, but it's in there somewhere because we got to eat someday. So saving the world, helping people, maybe less grand than saving the world, but still same kind of instinct. How about justice? I mean, I went to law school thinking, you know, I'm going to go help fight for justice, you know. I'm going to make sure that the truth wins, you know. Okay? Well, all these things, prestige, status, some people really thought, you know, hey, being a lawyer is going to make me, you know, really respected. And in some towns it may be, in others it may be the butt of more jokes. But the point is we all had something in mind. And we all, as we make our decisions every day, we have something in mind as to what we are about. What are we wanting out of life? We may not be conscious of that. We may just, you know, I had a friend of mine who said he always, you know, he would ask his dad, why do you do what you do? And his dad, being from a different generation, say, I don't know, I just do it. And the kids sort of left, well, okay, that didn't really help me much. And so I don't know if you've had those thoughts about, why you practice law. I think about it a lot. Why am I in this? What am I after? And the point is not, again, to be critical of anybody's choices, anything you guys had said, unless you had said, I went to law school because I thought it was a great route to being a dictator and assuming power over lots of people and squashing them into oblivion. If you'd said that, we might have had to, cast a little bit of a sideways glance at you, but nobody's going to typically say that, or at least own up to it, if that is their evil scheme. Rather, we all went for good reasons, most likely. And the key here is not to be judgmental or critical of anybody's good reasons, but what I want to suggest to you is this. There's one danger that we have to watch out for, and that's when one of these motivating factors, and we like to call them core values. In this segment, we call it call before you dig. Figure out what lies below the surface. What we've been doing looking at Affleck is what lies below the surface. What's driving his choices? How did he end up married to his father, or married to a woman whose dad he worked for? How did he end up in this firm as opposed to others? Something's driving those choices. We'll get more clues about that, but the same is true for us. And anything, what we'd suggest to you is this. You have these competing influences every day. We want to keep the lights on. We want to make money. We want to hopefully make more money next year than we did this past year. Nothing wrong with those things, unless they become the source of identity, unless they become the thing we have to have in order to feel okay about ourselves. And the example I always think of this that somebody pointed to, if you remember the movie Rocky, everybody's got to be the generation, Rocky Balboa basically felt like, he had 3 minutes in a ring to prove he wasn't a bum. Okay? Well, again, is that true? I mean, he might have had value intrinsically as a human being other than being able to pummel other people in the face. The point is to watch out for the things that we have as core values that become absolute values, that become ultimate values, because there we'll have the problem of one desire, one ultimate goal runs into another. What happens when my desire to make more money runs into my ethical duties and my commitment to my ethics? What happens when my desire to look good and be regarded as smart and intelligent and competent? And is that bad? Again, as we talked about in the first segment, we lawyers thrive on a reputation, and we need to. I need John to think I do a good job in cases so that he'll either tell his clients to fear me, which he doesn't, but theoretically, or he can refer business to me or whatever. It's not bad to think about a reputation and to want to look competent. But if the most important thing to me is what you all think of me in a case and how I come off looking, and that runs into my ethical duties, the best one is going to win. And so we've got to at least be aware of these things being in the mix, that we might be led down a path, and it might feel just natural to just, well, I had to do this, I had to do this. But if we stop for a minute and think about what am I aiming for, and recognize that I've got a situation where what I want to make more money in this case, or to make money, to get my client to pay my bill, is running into, I gotta deliver bad news. I've got, they've brought me this document, they want me to hide it, and I've got to tell them, I'm sorry, I know it torpedoes your case, but my ethical obligation is this is squarely within a discovery request, and we gotta turn it over.